Hey guys, how's it going? Back from London, England, and it was a great time. The race, F1 race, was so different when you're actually there compared to when you watch it on TV. But this video actually is going to be about my HiFi part of the trip. I'll post trip videos on another thing there. So my son Abraham and I were in downtown, and it was raining like fuck. It was beautiful the day before, but it was raining like fuck the day we went out. And we did the usual stuff, a lot of the touristy stuff. We walked through the Princess Diana Park, went to the Hard Rock the first night, spent more money than I should have that night, but again, that'll be a part of the trip story. This one is about the audio lounge and Sonata HiFi. And what happened was Abraham wanted to go to the Williams Racing. I guess it was like a pop-up thing that they had, and they have a little museum upstairs. So I'm like, okay. So the deal was I humored him, and he's going to humor me, right? And all the while suffering with deli belly, but that's too much information for one video. So I did a Google search, and the audio lounge popped up, and we actually drove past it as we were on the double-decker bus, right? And I didn't think much of it, but then, okay. So we did all our stuff, went to the Williams Racing thing. I got some Imodium for the deli belly. Then I said, okay, let's head over. And Indian guy greets me at the door. Okay, cool. He's got an English accent. Cooler. Okay. So I said, I'm a tourist, from the U.S. and my son, we're here for the race and all this. Okay, so we sit down, and he knows I'm not going to buy a fucking thing at his store because I'm a tourist, right? He was just happy that somebody came in. Not that he's hurting for business, but he's doing some expansions in the store, so it kind of looks like it's open, but it's not. So anyways, we go in, met one of his associates, then met a few other people that work at the store, partners of his. And we start talking. He says, so what's your name? He says, Jayanta. Huh? My name's Jointa, so it's like he's Jay, I'm Joy. Okay, so this is cool. He's Bengali, I'm Bengali. He's born over there, but he's brought up over here, thus he lost the Indian accent altogether. So we start shooting the shit. Meanwhile, my son Abraham's getting bored out of his skull as usual. Now the thing is, he's got some beautiful equipment in there, and it's going to be part of the video here. Spendor speakers all over the place. He had a pair of Avant-Gardes that he's selling as demos down in the basement. His showroom setup with the Negra equipment. He's got a big Boulder amplifier in the corner, so he's got a lot of cool US stuff. He's got YG acoustic speakers also throughout the store. As far as turntables, he only sells SME. And this Lin cost me, what, $2,000? With the Lingo power supply, the Benz micro cartridge, and the Ecos arm. So I saved myself $58,000. Another video. So anyhow, we did all that stuff, made the introductions, and we were so busy shooting this shit. And because I've been to so many shows now, when I go into a store showroom and he's got all this cool stuff, yeah, I've got, the play whatever I want, listen, sit down, relax. But I'm like, we were having such a cool conversation, we just never got around to doing the listening demo. And honestly, if I had more money than brains, and if I wanted to buy all that, some cool stuff, I'd definitely buy it from him, pay the import charges, and have it shipped over here, even though I know I can get this stuff here in my backyard. Just because of the people, right? And I even said to Jay, I says, dude, you're living the dream, man. I always wanted to do something like this when I was younger, open a hi-fi shop up in my hometown and all this, but it's you know, to see a brick and mortar store like that. And with absolutely no pressure to buy anything, you know, and he knew we were tourists anyways. And the one thing with Jay, he makes a great cup of tea, man. Fucking. And then I met Rob from Sonata HiFi, who also has a shop in Soho there in the downtown London area. And he's a character. When I showed him pictures of the setup, he's like, oh, tube amplifier, big speakers, bouncy Linson Dick turntable, and no trouble with microphonics and vibrations there, is there? I'm like, no, man, it works. So we had a good laugh about that, and then while we were having our tea and stuff, he starts talking to my son Abraham about F1 cars, and he was totally shocked with my son's knowledge of F1 history and all this stuff for a kid who's only 22. So that was kind of cool. And really, I said, look, man, you spent all afternoon with me. You humored my son and myself, and I got to buy something from you. So my wife saw this, and she thought it was a bottle of cough medicine. It's a glass bottle. It's made in Germany. It's record cleaning It's record cleaner. It even comes with, you know, a little cup here for your record cleaning machine, and that's the container. So, because I asked him if he had a record brush, because I know I've got the MoFi brush back here. It works, but I was kind of hoping to get something a little better. But anyways, he didn't have any in stock at the time. And then he shows me this tray of cartridges with no styluses on it. See, he'd taken the store over from the previous owner, and he's in the middle of revamping all the inventory. And, you know, then I met one of his partners who says, yeah, we also have, you know, distribution and manufacturing stuff. And, you know, it's a different, not for the store, but for something else. And then I showed them the Orchard Audio website, and they're like, so how do I order an amplifier? I see, you know, everything's on sale and all this, but how do I order an amp? And then when I showed them, they were like, no, that's not how you do it. I'm like, dude, it's not my business, man. I work for the guy. We're making amps. Everybody loves the sound of the amps, you know. And so definitely we're not going to be selling Orchard Audio amps out of a dealer store in downtown Soho anytime soon. But that's okay. And anyways, he's one thing I noticed with Jay, he's very loyal to the brands that support his store. So for Class D amplifiers, he's using Bel Canto for all that stuff. And, you know, it was just a great time in the store. And Rob from Sonata HiFi, because Rob's kind of like a mentor for Jay, and obviously very well respected. And when you go on Rob's website at Sonata HiFi, and you go on Jay's website, you know, at Audio Lounge, and I'll make sure the links are down below, they don't have anything that's in competition with each other. It's like one store complements the other. And I didn't get a chance to go to Rob's store because he had to go do some stuff afterwards, and Jay kind of forced his hand to have some tea, and when we were making him run late and all this. So I'm running a losing day for everybody, thanks to me. But yeah, it was such a great time, and it was so nice to go into an audio store where not only do they not look at you like you're not going to spend any money, so get the fuck out of my store. I'm not going to mention names in this town, but they know who they are. In Phoenix, I'm talking about, not London. And the other thing I asked Jay is, so was it an appointment? He says, no, we don't do appointment only. And when you walk into a store, you're not greeted by a $10,000 this and a $20,000 that. It's all there. You got to go into this. It reminded me of the stores I used to go to when I was a kid. You walk in, you see the small spend doors. ATC, he also sells a shit ton of ATC as well. You know, English brand, of course. But no Lin. He told me the dirty secret, which I kind of knew about. You want to buy one of these now? Forget about the $60,000 Apple guy, designer guy. Forget about that shit. That they will assemble at the factory for you. Lynn, whether you buy the $30,000 bouncy house table or the $10,000 bouncy house table or the $5,000 starter bouncy house turntable, it comes in a mechano set. And I've seen the YouTube videos from some of the dealers in England and Scotland and all that. And yeah, it's a mechano set. The dealer has to put it together. The dealer's tech or engineer has to be trained at the factory by Lynn. And I believe the guy that tuned this guy up here in town in Phoenix at LMC was also trained overseas, right? That's all great, but Jay's like, well, if my guy's busy doing any repairs or any kind of maintenance or updates on customers' equipment, I can't afford to have him take, hours or an entire day to build a turntable, right? It's like that cost is not buried in the product, right? So what Lynn has done is they've taken their classic iconic table now and basically said to the dealers, well, if they want one bad enough, you guys got to put it together, unless you're willing to spend $60,000. I don't know, that's kind of weird. I mean, it's so yeah, there's no Lynn in his store at all. No DACs, no amplifiers, no nothing. I don't recall if he had name in the store or not. You probably check the website, but yeah, he's definitely got Boulder YG acoustics from here in the U.S. Niagara, and the system in the downstairs was beautiful. He had the big, I think they were YG acoustics speakers, and I forget the DAC, but anyways, it's going to be in the photo. So before I make this thing too much of a long ramble, a splendid time was guaranteed, but for all. And again, thanks Jay, thanks Rob for the conversation, and Jay for the tour of the store and letting me take all the photos. And I didn't do an interview with Jay and his associates because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't bring the tripod with me and all that because I never intended to really go into a hi-fi shop. Well, I did and I didn't. Anyways, guys, that's the first part of the videos. Cheers. Got my Glenfiddich duty free from the airport here in Phoenix on the way in. I just looked at the bottle and it's kind of like 2/3 done. It was a long week. Cheers.